episode of Naruto Shippuden, Shikamaru is haunted by visions of the past. The death of his master Asuma at the hands of the Akatsuki. And this might end up biting him in the ass as he and his team try to take down Gengo, the malicious leader of the Land of Silence, who has plans for a massive revolution against the ninja world. And it's all gonna lead up to a massive confrontation where Sai is revealed, about to be killed as he is crucified. This week's episode was pretty damn good. I liked it a lot. I especially liked this episode because it reaffirmed that I like the side characters. I'm really into Soku and Ro. I like both of them equally. And the fact that they were able to give some development to Ro in this episode, I think was really important because it sort of put him on the same level as Shikamaru. Because Shikamaru has been constantly having to deal with the death of his master Asuma. It's something which continues to haunt him, and there's a number of scenes in this episode where he's constantly reminded of those events, and you get to see it in all of its bloody, gory detail. But Ro also has a pretty messed up backstory. Apparently when he was a genin, he and his team was ambushed by this group of unknown ninja, and they were all completely annihilated. And the only way that Ro was able to escape with his life is that he hid under the bodies, the corpses of his comrades. And this actually forced him to master his ability to hide his chakra. Now, the reason this is so crucial to his development is that he's constantly reminded of this event because his powers involve using that ability. Every single time he uses it, he's like, yeah, I got this power because I hid under the dead bodies of my friends and loved ones. It's pretty fucked up, and it's also just another reminder that a lot of the ninja of the Naruto world have to live with some pretty serious shit. It's not just always about the power of friendship, and things don't always go the way they want. But most of this episode is basically just watching Shikamaru, Ro, and Soku try to infiltrate the Land of Silence, find Gengo so that they can save Sai and capture this guy. Now, at the beginning of the episode, they run into this one ninja by the name of Minoichi, who apparently is a former Anbu. The scene with Minoichi is really important because it's showing that Shikamaru is sort of like going off the deep end when he decides to interrogate him, actually about to use the shadow strangle technique on him, but eventually he does manage to stop. But this guy also knows Ro and knows a lot about his backstory and uses that to his advantage to try and make a quick escape, but Soku just ends up destroying his ass with her freaking Yu Yu Hakusho abilities. However, this gives them an in. Not only do they get to learn where Gengo is going to be, but they also get some slick brand new costumes, which are like a poor man's version of the Akatsukis. And they get to see that Gengo is getting ready to hold this big revolutionary rally, and he's also going to reveal Sai to the crowd. But really, this is all just a trick to try and find the traitors, to try and find Shikamaru and his team, and it ends up working big time. Shikamaru and them try to set up bombs all over the place as a big distraction so that they can save Sai, and it almost seems like it's going to happen, but apparently Sai is under some sort of mind control, probably some sort of genjutsu ability. You can actually see like this blue fire that is within his eyes, but he still retains a little bit of his personality and is able to use his signature ninja techniques, which he uses to great effect against Shikamaru. It's amazing that Shikamaru is a master of the shadow abilities where they can trap people with paralysis, but then again, Sai can just create a giant freaking snake which can wrap around you too, so it's pretty damn useful what he's capable of, and he seems to be like way gone at this point. Either there's going to be a twist where he's actually playing along as well. It is hard to believe that Sai is actually being manipulated by someone like this, especially because Sai is such a hardcore ninja. I mean, he is a former Anbu himself, and he's very emotionless, so for him to actually be influenced by someone is a great demonstration of why Gengo is probably not someone you should mess with, despite the fact that he has a really boring design. And really, that's my only issue with this arc, is that every single side character, aside from the ones from Konoha, just look like really generic characters. There's really nothing all that special about them. I'm not saying that they all need to look completely insane or anything, and this is a problem that a lot of anime series have. If you're not a main character, you just sort of blend into the background and look like just a normal, everyday person. It's really not all that exciting. But I really loved how this episode ended with a little bit of a cliffhanger, with Shikamaru being slowly squeezed to death as he's trying to use his Shadow Strangle abilities on what I'm presuming is Gengo, but I don't think it's going to work out, especially if you watch the previews for next week's episode. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? The Shikamaru side story is still pretty good so far. I am enjoying it despite the fact that there are some things about it that are slightly generic, but I'm liking all the twists and turns that they're bringing to the story, and I like that they're actually bringing a little bit of depth to these characters by bringing up their very bloody pasts, by having Shikamaru and Ro have something very similar to them happening in the past, something very tragic, actually allows them to have a much stronger bond with each other. Also, just the fact that they're all sort of slowly being, like, influenced by Gengo and his powers, the fact that he can affect people from, like, that distance is actually pretty insane. Little by little, you can see throughout the episode towards the end that both Ro and Shikamaru and even Soku are being influenced just by this guy's words. Almost as if he's like a freaking Pied Piper of sorts. It's very strange. I can't wait to see him get his eventual comeuppance, and I don't know how that's going to happen. I have a feeling, though, it's going to involve Shikamaru bringing all sorts of pain. But we're just going to have to wait and see. The good news is this episode also had some pretty decent production value behind it. Nowhere near as good as the Sasuke side story, but still pretty damn nice in its own right. But it's not exactly reinventing the wheel. There are some pretty nice shots in this episode as well, but nothing too grandiose. Basically just a lot of the characters walking around with a lot of gray backgrounds. So it's not going to wow you too much in the visual department, but honestly I like it because we're continuing to get development from classic characters. Even at the age of 19, Shikamaru is still having to deal with his demons, and watching him go through that is honestly pretty cool. And I like it too because it's realistic. People just don't get over that stuff that quickly. It's something that he has to live with every single day, and probably for the rest of his life. They don't sugarcoat anything, and that's saying a lot because Naruto is a series that's like all about the power of friendship and overcoming adversity through all of that squishy, weird, glittery Mickey Mouse bullshit. And it's not happening here, which is something that's kind of refreshing. It's also a reminder that the ninja world, despite the fact that there's no Madara or Kaguya or anything or any big wars going on, is still a pretty messed up place. So there will always be a need for ninja and heroes in this world, which is pretty fascinating. So I liked this episode. I don't think it was perfect by any stretch of the means. It didn't blow me away too much, but it was still pretty entertaining in its own right. So I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Just a fun, average episode of Naruto Shippuden. Nothing to write home about, but if you're looking for some more Naruto action, you want to spend some time with Shikamaru, and you just need more Naruto anime, then check out this episode. It's wholly inoffensive, and you might see something about it you like. You might even get attached to some of the brand new characters. And if anything, it'll kill a little more time before we get to this brand new Boruto anime series, which starts up in a couple of months. So check it out, Naruto fans. If any of you did watch the episode, I would love to hear what you guys thought about it in the comments section below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of the introduction of Gengo in this episode? Are you becoming attached to the new characters of Ro and Soku? How are Shikamaru and Sai going to get out of this sticky situation? And what do you want to see from the rest of Shippuden before we move on to the Boruto anime series? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I very much appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be able to see all of our latest Naruto anime and manga reviews. You guys can also see a lot of the other anime that I review on the channel as well. I would also love to hear a comment from you guys. I'd love to interact with my viewers. And of course, if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I will see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.